I caught myself falling short of a little promise that I made to myself a couple of days ago, noticing that my consistency with writing in my novel was deteriorating a little bit. I said I was going to try to write 10 pages a day. And that's what I was going to do. I wrote about 5 pages a couple of days ago, really important establishment of something in the power system, but my eyes were glossing over. So by the time that my brain started to feel numb, I decided that, maybe I need to rest. And so I rested. I didn't go back to it. Today I've written maybe about a paragraph that added a little more context to the scene. It was important, but it wasn't the mark that I wanted to reach. And I don't know if that started the same sort of spiral of uncertainty and feeling like I'm not measuring up to something. But on a little drive, because I figured it would be nice to buy some food for myself and my dad. So, I did that. Because the fish that I was going to cook tonight hasn't thawed yet. So I'm going to wait for it to thaw tomorrow. Um, in the fridge, of course. I'm not leaving it out overnight, but basically I did a little something that felt pretty good. I felt like I had provided for the day. I did a good deed. And that's kind of where I remembered a really important discovery that I don't even remember where I discovered this. Actually, I could pinpoint to one yogi on the internet. He runs the Shunya Peetham Foundation in Himachal, India. Sadho, I believe. And I think that there's an overlap in this statement that he made and how I'm noticing we tend to take it in a way that I don't know if spirituality intends for us to take. And it's something that I noticed as I had begun to take my hobby educational research of so I like a lot of esotericism. I like a lot of spirituality topics, but nothing really like concrete. I've listened to a little bit in Hermeticism, I've listened to a little bit in Tantra. I've read a couple of books that I can't even tell you half of what was in them on Tantra and Eastern esotericism. Ways to work with the energy, sacred geometry, etc. It's all cool. It's all really, really interesting. So I'm trying to pick a topic and practice it and try to find something practical about it. And what I'm choosing to dive into a little deeper, unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be a lot of cheap but in-depth resource on is hermetic astrology. Basically divining and creating certain effects from certain not necessarily only talisman work, but just particular ritual and ceremony underneath the stars and underneath constellations and at particularly opportune times. There's a not so much like a what's the word I'm looking for? A mandatory timing, a mandatory quality in timing, but timing helps a lot in it. doing certain things at certain times underneath certain, I'm guessing, certain arrangements of stars. I really don't know, right? Produces certain effects. It can help with financial situations, emotional situations, relationships. It can cure ailments, etc. Like it's those are the most like common, so they're the lowest hanging fruit, but it's like stuff like this can kind of do anything depending on your will or your intention put into it. And a lot of fundamentals of that I'm trying to embody. There's like an equanimity that I try to embody, but the whole rat race, because it is a rat race of getting started in a career, getting a secure position to marry and continue, and all these things. There isn't an equanimity in it. There's the people that win and the people that don't. And I think it gets really easy to forget that none of it really matters. And none of us really matter. But there's an element to that I think we forget, that I think social media makes us forget, that I think that this curse of, and I'm going to challenge you not to think too deeply in this word that I'm going to use. I'm just going to say it and kind of just let me say my piece on it, right? This element of narcissism that I think we've all grown. If I ask you, like, for how often you think about yourself and you think about your things and you think about your position in life, where you feel you're supposed to be, how much more often now do you think you do that now than, say, in the last 5 years? I don't I don't know if this behavior, this overthinking, because I do believe that it's an overthinking, is a healthy behavior to have. I think as it stands right now, a lot of how social media is designed to gauge outrage and to gauge certain things has put us underneath a very subtle curse. And it's that curse that makes us think we matter in such a way that we should consume and perform and join the rat race. It's a mattering that keeps us entangled. And one symptom, I think, of that, the main symptom of that, whether you're the 35-year-old loser or the tech billion that just can't feel anything anymore, we all think way too much about where we think we're supposed to be. And all of the things we could be doing, the things we could have done, the things we feel we're supposed to be doing, the ways we're supposed to be skilling up, believe me, in my profession, I feel the same thing. I'm not I'm not free of any of this, you know? But I wanted to kind of share something that I genuinely feel like has been going wrong and has been for years in this behavior to overthink and to read really far into our own decisions and just how much that burns us out. I went for this interview. I didn't get this job, but I went for an interview at a restaurant. And what the guy kind of said like stuck with me a lot, because he was like, it doesn't matter so much how much intelligence you have, it matters more so in your what's in your heart. And I think what he intended by that was, action orientation, right? But even this line of thinking of like, I'll never do enough and I need to do more and I need to make more money and I need to matter more. I'm going to die one day. I need to matter more. You know, I don't think that this is healthy. And no matter how much financial success we find, because everybody's in a different position, I know mine isn't near as bad as it could be. I'm grateful to even have like savings and like a small 401k, not to divulge too much information, and to have a roof over my head, and to not be addicted to any particular drugs. There are things to be that I find remind me that there's a sense of gratitude in it, but this burden of thinking so much about trying to think about the past or the future. And then when you find a mystic on the internet that says, "I am a fool," is a great realization, and how much you and we both reject that. Sado said, "I am a fool," and how liberating that statement is. There's something in that statement that makes him smile and made me smile before I started recording this that we're missing. And that word that I said earlier, equanimity. No matter how much money we make, you and I, we do not matter any more than our neighbor. And it's in the sense that all things are equanimous. Who am I to say you are not already a perfect organism? Because the question is not the mind or the body. The question is the self. Well, you can call it the soul if you want, but there's this, and I don't read any literature in this. I could read more literature, coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? But it's this idea that the universe experiences itself, and you are a divine play of that right now. And your role in how things are going on, however good or bad you think it's going on, you are a part of this divine play. And it is of the universe, it is of divinity reflecting itself. It is an infinite series of images, all the way down here, all the way down below, and all the way back up to the absolute, whatever word you want to call it, the source that everything came from. You can say that it's just frequency of the universe constantly expanding, that there's no consciousness. You can say that if you want. Or you can say there is a consciousness and there are divinities and divine intellects and so on and so forth. That luminaries and their angelic forces in the stars and dominions and houses on the planets. You can argue whatever you want. There are things for and against it, right? But we are all upon the same play, the same stage. Who am I to say you are not already perfect? I said in the last video, by your existence you matter. So to say that you do not matter is to suggest who needs to matter, if you already do, if it was never a question to begin with, if the question never needed to exist. Who needs to matter? Who to them is there a loser and a winner? That is a question of the ego, in my opinion. That is a question of the logic that has to discern. Its purpose is to cut things in half. There must be something higher and lower. It's obsessed with that. It is a survival mechanism. This food is poisonous, this food is good. That's all it is, right? But it's when that logic, I think, goes too unchecked. We allow it too much reign in mattering in this journey that we call mattering, that we get to these levels of like, there's nothing that I can ever do in my life that will ever appease this voice because it is constantly in survival mode. I could call myself a 25-year-old loser if I want, a 26-year-old loser, and I could make all the money in the world. While I was employed, I was the most hard on myself that I had ever been in my life. Employment doesn't fix it. I'm confident in that. I don't think employment fixes this. If you want to participate, fine. I don't think that's wrong. I don't think it's wrong to participate. It's up to you. Check out, check in. Like, I can't make you do anything. There are arguments for and against. But it's all of this internal debate that I think causes suffering in of itself. If you make a choice and you just stick with it, high or low, because there will be highs and lows in all choices you can make. Content creation, business, art, software, electricity, trade, white collar, blue collar, social media, whatever, right? Highs and lows in everything, costs and benefits to everything. That logic, and this is the part where I think social media comes in, that logic never turns off because it's given a platform to exercise itself on. And the logic thinks that it matters, so it tries so hard. And it's so exhausting. And I don't think any of us ever come to understand that your energy is actually incredibly sacred, and this constant running around, however employed it makes us, is draining us. And we can't enjoy the present moment because we're so obsessed with getting a job. But the next time we get a job, we're going to look at the next employment and the next house and the better thing. Enjoy it. When you get there, enjoy it. But so much, I think, revolves around distraction. There's a reason there's so much distraction. It's been torn apart and put back together like paper mache by scientists everywhere now. But why does it get worse? You do not matter in the sense that all things, you, me, everyone, all things are equanimous. There is an equanimity in existence because you exist. And the logic is like, what then? There is nothing else. That's the truth. That's it. The less I speak of it, the fewer minutes I spend talking about it, it's a little closer to the truth. But it's because it's this logic that's running around so much. I don't know if you've caught it yet. It's this logic running around. That's the problem. This guy's got to slow down. We got to put him back to bed for a little while. He's scared. He thinks we're going to die. He knows that we're going to die. There is a mortality. There is a ticking clock. But the lie that you were told is that you have to gather all of these things. You have to matter before you die. But you don't matter. Because we are all of equal existence. There's no amount of money that makes you not die. There's no amount of money that makes you not bleed. That's not a thing. Kings can feel a little comfortable for a little while. But do you think Elon Musk is happy? Do you think the 35-year-old loser feels any better? Nobody feels happy. Everybody suffers. You can't escape that. So I should just become a monk, right? That's not what I'm saying. I should just kill my desires, right? That's not what I'm saying. I am a fool. I do not matter. Because everything is of equal existence. Who am I to say you are not already perfect? There's nothing more to think about. We're trapped in mattering when we're all going to die anyway. And life passes us by because we're stuck in a rat race. When instead we could just go for a walk and enjoy a tree and find peace in that tree. We create so much of our own suffering. And everybody's position is different. Everybody struggles with something else. You know what you need to do. But how much of that is what you need to do? Maybe you don't want to be a leech anymore. Maybe you want to scale down the 10 different businesses you have. Maybe you regret starting all of this. Maybe there's a little more. Maybe there's a little less. Choose something. Because the more you stay in this logical Ouroboros, the more you're just going to fade away. You'll die sooner. This is a really heavy topic, and it's really complicated, and I'm trying my best. What I notice has become the trend in a lot of these videos is that the only way out is in. Kind of like what that Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh talked about. But what that means in practice is raw presence. We need to practice raw presence more often. And what that literally means is just putting your phone somewhere where you can't reach it, going to another room, and just sitting without distraction. The logic will go crazy. The mind will go crazy. Sometimes for some of us, sometimes me included, instantly it'll say, oh my God, there's nothing here. That's the curse. That is the asura. That is the demon, right? That is the curse of this. Notice it, right? I don't know who put it there. I don't know who planned this, whether it was intentional or not. I'm not here to answer any of those questions. Just notice that. And just sit. You don't need a mantra. You don't need mudra. Maybe if you want to try them, I'm sure there are plenty on the internet. If you want to risk not scrolling for another 30 minutes. But just sit. And just be. Presence. You have it. You exude it without even realizing it because you've been made to be distracted by this. Choose not to scroll or sit in front of your monitor. Even 5 minutes, I guarantee you, will result in a change. Things will calm down, even a little bit. But the fact that they calm down a little bit, it's like what they say. Any dollar you make outside of your job is a dollar made outside of your job. Any drop of silence you create by just being by yourself, that is a drop of silence for you. Whatever you need to skill up for in this economy, choose this. 5 minutes. Nothing but yourself. If you got to go outside and you got to pick a bench to just sit down and watch people pass, don't take your phone with you or turn it off. The system has been made to be aggravated. Your system has been made to be aggravated, and we must cool it down because it lives in aggravation. It lives in that heat, and it is tearing itself apart by operating at this level. And that goes for everyone, whether you think you're a 35, 25-year-old loser or you think you're some tech billionaire. I love you regardless. I love you because I don't think you and I are any different. In the cosmological scale, going all the way back to wherever we could have come from, I don't think we're that different. Ow. That was my funny bone. I don't know what happened. I don't know where it went wrong. But I think this is what we need to do. There's nothing else really to do. Whether you choose to participate in the rat race or not. Neat, virgin loser, Andrew Tate fucking uh million notches on my belt, 3 Bugattis in my air conditioned garage that I don't go into. Why is there air conditioning? And I don't know. I don't go in there, but everyone suffers. A job won't fix that. Wherever you end up in life, wherever you end up, presence, silence. Practice that. Just sit as you are. Turn your computer off. Just sit as you are for 5 minutes. No distractions. No cigarettes, no alcohol, nothing. Just be by yourself. Watch your mind fester for 5 minutes. It's scary. But what's scarier? Going with a smartphone into your grave. Maybe that's scarier. Who knows? Still unemployed, trying my best out here. Almost forgot. Here's the part where we do a practice. And I hope that YouTube doesn't put ads here. I'm going to be so upset if it does. Don't do that, please, God. I'm going to hit the mute button on this microphone, and we're just going to be for 5 minutes, right? We're going to practice that right now. Where's my mute button? That's the mute button. All right. 3, 2, 1, be. think that was 5 minutes. Maybe I should be better at timing this. Who knows? Maybe that is a part of the logic. And I'm doing everything I need to. But that's about it for me, I think. Drink water, touch grass, take your 5 minutes every day without distraction, without your phone. I think you're doing better than you think. And if anything else, I'm proud of you. You could have been dead, and you're not. I don't think it matters in the sense that just because you're here, you exist. And you existed before, and you will continue to exist. In that sense, existence and mattering isn't really a question because it is. It just is. Excuse me. So, anyway, have a good day.